I didn't even have to ask you to clap once if you can hear me. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our August 25th, 2026 Board of Douglas County Commissioners 5:30 business meeting. Thanks for joining us here this evening. Paper copies of the agenda are available on the table back by the doors you came through. I believe there's still a hot pot of coffee back there too for anybody who needs it. Thank you, Robin. And our full packet with all materials are on the website. Reviewing our full agenda, first we will consider our consent agenda. And we have, looks like 6 total items on our consent agenda. After that, we will move on to general public comment. We welcome general public comment for addressing issues that are not on today's agenda, but otherwise related to county business. Given our limited time and the need for an orderly and efficient meeting, we do apply certain rules regarding public comments. We will do our best to enforce these rules consistently and without regard to the point of view of the expressed by the speaker. Each speaker will be limited to a total of 3 minutes of speaking time. However, we will accept public comment of any length in writing. Individual speakers may not donate unused time to other speakers. All comments must address topics within the jurisdiction of the county commission, and we reserve the right to mute and remove any speaker whose comments are threatening, aggressively hostile, or belligerent. Campaigning for public office during the public comment period is not allowed. Please give your full name and residence for our meeting minutes if you are comfortable doing so, and please address your comments to the commission. We will hear from people in person first, then look to our Zoom meeting attendees. Please use the raise your hand function if you wish to provide your public comment virtually. Please also know that comments received by the commission during our meeting do not necessarily represent the views of Douglas County government, but we value the input. We don't usually respond to general public comment on the spot, but if you leave your contact information with the county staff, we will try and get any specific questions you have answered. After general public comment concludes, we'll move to our regular business agenda for tonight. There are 4 items on our regular agenda, all related to our public budget hearings. For each action item, we will hear from staff, followed by questions from the commission, and then we'll open the floor for public comment that is relevant to each item. Once public comment is concluded, we bring the item back to the commission for further discussion and a vote on each action item. Lastly, a recording of this meeting will be available on the county's YouTube page and website. And we have one additional thing this evening, which is a proclamation that we'll start our meeting off with. And I believe Commissioner Willie is going to read that for us. And then we have Lori Alvarado from DECA who's going to come say a few words.
All right. Thank you for having such a great crowd here for Supportive Housing Week. Let me get this. Here we go. So we have a proclamation for Supportive Housing Week on August 26, 2026. Whereas Supportive Housing Week, observed from August 24th to August 28th, 2026, celebrates and honors the vital role supportive housing plays in providing safe, stable, and affordable homes for individuals and families with disabilities facing housing insecurity. And whereas this week provides an opportunity for lawmakers and community leaders to engage with supportive housing programs, hear directly from residents, and gain deeper understanding of the challenges and solutions related to housing stability. And whereas Douglas County's adopted 2026 budget includes $2.9 million in one-time capital projects and ongoing operating funds for supportive housing projects with community partners. And whereas the dedicated efforts of housing providers, service organizations, advocates, and community members have made a lasting difference in Douglas County, Kansas, fostering resilience, stability, and opportunity for countless individuals. And now, therefore, the Douglas County Board of County Commissioners do hereby proclaim the week of August 24 to August 28, 2026 as Supportive Housing Week in Douglas County, Kansas, and encourages all citizens to join in recognizing and celebrating the importance of supportive housing and building stronger, more inclusive communities. Adopted this 26th day of August, 2026. And I think Lori is coming up. Thank you.
Hey, Commissioner Willie. We happen to have so many supportive housing providers in the house for this proclamation. Amazing.
On that note, if those of you in the audience who are engaged in this effort across the county, if you would just stand, I want them to see all of your smiling faces and your dedicated and passionate souls that do this work. Thank you. Thank you for this proclamation. I appreciate being here to speak on behalf of a very passionate, committed group of individuals and providers who provide supportive housing. And we know that this effort is funded, supported, and the opportunities are created both by you, City of Lawrence, and other great partners in this work. So we thank you for that. Our organization, and it hit me as I was driving here, our organization has been implementing the science and power of hope. And it's all around the idea that hope can be taught. And how you teach hope is you have a goal. And then you identify multiple pathways to that goal. And then you have to have what is referred to as willpower or agency. So resources, support, encouragement to pursue those pathways and eventually reach those goals. And that would be what we call success. And I can't think of another continuum of work in the county that actually practices hope. I don't know if you all know that, but you're practicing hope and teaching hope. And I think that's exactly what this group of folks do, is offer hope to people who need that, to people who desire that. And you all are also engaged in that hope work as you support this proclamation and the services across the county. So with that, we say thank you to you. And I say thank you to all of you who provide that work. And it's an honor and a privilege to be a part of the continuum. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. We appreciate you speaking on behalf of everybody. Would you like to take the official proclamation and figure out who does it belong to? Jill's going to take it and make copies for everybody because we have so many amazing partners. Thank you all for being here and for the work. We really appreciate it. Okay, with that, we'll move into our consent agenda. Commissioner, does anybody wish to bring anything off the consent agenda for questions or comments?
Item 2.2.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't have one to pull, but I do want to recognize our criminal justice services for both those reports. There's a lot of great wins in there. I don't see Pam. She's probably here. Thank you, Pam, and Pam's team for all their work. There's a lot of exciting successes in there, and completing those reports is pretty daunting. So thank you for all that work.
Okay, is there any member of the public who would like to pull anything off the consent agenda for questions or comments? See no takers in the room. Do we have any virtual hands, Sarah? Okay, I'll bring that back to the commission for a motion on the remaining items.
Motion to approve consent agenda items 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Second, moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay. The rest of those pass unanimously. For 2.2, Commissioner Dorsey, do you want to kick us off with your questions?
Well, I don't have any questions. I just have a suggestion. The 421,621.49. We've had that in a reserve account for quite a while. We're now transferring that to general funds. In the 2027 budget, we have a request for $500,000 from the Economic Development Group in Baldwin to help fund a child care center for the Baldwin area, which is lacking in newborn care and child care in general. So my suggestion would be we just move this directly to the general fund and then move it into fund that $500,000 item in EDC of Baldwin.
Commissioner, in essence, that's what's happening. We'll return to the general fund reserve and in 2026, and then you in the budget you have before you tonight, you would be funding that project for the Baldwin EDC out of the 2026 reserve. So in essence, that's what we're doing.
But the project's in 2027 budget.
For a lot of those one-time expenses, we included those for 2026 reestimate so that we could have a better sense of our fund balance. So that's how we accounted for those projects in your line item budget.
So you're saying it's not part of the 2027 budget?
Every time we do the 2027 budget, we reestimate the current year And that's what we've done. So you're adopting the budget and that is included in the reestimate.
It's, if I may, it says on our packet enclosure that the transfer will bolster general fund balance and resources are available for approved one-time expenditures in 26 or 27, which would be what you're asking for, correct?
Yes,
I believe that's what we're doing.
okay. I move we approve item
We
2.
gotta
Take
do-
public comment because you,
That's okay. Any other questions or comments, commissioners? Any member of the public have any comment on this item that we pulled? Seeing none, no virtual hands, right, Sarah? Okay, I'll bring it back and ready for a motion.
I move we approve item 2.2.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Great. Okay, we are concluded with our consent agenda. I will not unmute myself. That brings us to general public comment. As a reminder, this is an opportunity for any general public comment about county business that is not on today's agenda. So if you came here to talk to us about our budgets on today's agenda, please hold your comments for each of those items. But anybody who's got general public comment, such as Mr. Ems, come on forward.
To quote the August 7th, John Ems, 66049. To quote the August 17th Lawrence Journal World, for every dollar the county spent in 2025, it had 52 cents sitting in reserve. The county's general operating fund saw its reserves grow by more than 3 million last year and began 2026 more than 5 million larger. The total amount of fund balances continues to be a significant portion of the county's overall finances. The county had a total spending of $254.7 million in 2025, meaning the county ended the year with an uncommitted cash equal to 52% of its total expenditures. The county's fund balance policy states actual fund balances, whether calculated based on regulatory accrual or modified accrual basis in accordance with government auditing standards, shall not exceed 25% of all budgeted revenue in any fiscal year. The board has not followed the policy for the past several years. You've said you will discuss modifying the fund balance policy at a future undetermined date. There have been questions from the public for years on this failure to follow your own policy, which you have ignored. Some taxpayers suggest that portions of the large balances should be refunded to residents as property tax relief payments. I suggest you follow Rand Paul's federal plan and resend to the public 6 cents for every dollar from every fund, making up the difference from the overage in the reserve funds. Citizens agree the Lawrence Journal World has done an excellent job reporting on this issue. Thank you.
Good afternoon. As I stand here, I realize that my statement today will not change your decisions, but I thought it important for the public to listen to this to connect the dots. I have received an estimate of what my property taxes.
Did we get your name? I'm sorry, I didn't.
Oh,
I
I'm
didn't catch
sorry.
it.
Sofiano Olivera, 66044. My property taxes for 2026 with the proposed mill levy increase for the house at 941 Rhode Island. I will be paying an additional $860.42, which translates into $72 a month. Because this is a rental, it will increase the rent about 120 to 130 per month. Because as you increase value, insurance increases accordingly, and the cost of materials and labor has skyrocketed. I've also received an estimate on my own mortgage, which takes into account that increase in insurance. My mortgage will increase, this is for 2025, not even considering 2026, from $1,774.35 to $2,165.39. That is an increase of $391 per month that I need to pay. My husband and I are seniors, and paying $400 additional a month is it's hard. The main source of rent and mortgage increase is taxes, property taxes. The main source of instability and housing unaffordability is the lack of leadership to rein in the budget. Over the years, I have seen how landlords have been used as scapegoat, Yes, we are an easy scapegoat and a target, but the real source of increasing cost of housing is the decisions that are made here. You have failed your citizens. You claim to care about affordable housing, but year after year, citizens are punished because you don't take a strong leadership in reining in the budget. When you give salaries of $250,000 to county employees in a county with a small base, you're failing us. When you don't listen to citizens year after year coming here to ask you to reduce our taxes, to reduce the budget, you're failing us. When you create a huge slush fund that allows the county to purchase real estate outright, which was explained by Dr. Imes, you're failing us. So I ask you to please take some time to think why you were elected. Why are you sitting on those chairs? And let me suggest a possible answer. Maybe listen to the citizens. Thank you.
Anybody else here with general public comment about items not on today's agenda?
Hello all, my name is Dustin Stumley Bear and I live in the Pinckney neighborhood. Recently, my mom made a decision to move to Douglas County for health reasons, and I'm beginning to help her make that move. And my aunt passed away last year. Her house had back property taxes. The city took it over. As a result of that, or the county had to take it over. And the case is open, so people who like to scam can call in and get information on us, and they're trying to call our family all across the United States, literally, including my ex-wife from 18 years ago. And luckily, my mom was able to call in to the county treasurer's office, the county appraiser's office, and even our county sheriff's office and ask about questions. Everyone took their time to treat her with respect and answer her questions, even got a little kick out of the fact that these scammers were calling my family across the whole country. So I want to say to all of you, thank you for all of our county staff and all the work they do every day. They are the reason our democratic order gets to function, and the reason I get to live and enjoy this peaceful life that I live in this county every day. And I know there's different people who have different stressors, so this is my family I'm speaking for. And thank you for all of this. In fact, she sent a text just the other day saying, the way they treated me with respect makes me really excited to move up there again. So I just wanted to share that with all of you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dustin. Is there anybody else here who would like to provide general public comment? Okay, seeing no takers in the room. Do we have any virtual hands yet, Sarah? Okay, we'll close general public comment and move into our first of 4 regular business items. And it looks like I'm turning it over to Brooke.
Thank you, commissioners, and good evening. Bear with me a quick moment while I share my screen. Staff's going to provide a brief presentation tonight, and then I'll turn it over to the chair to conduct the hearings here in a moment. I'll get this shared. All right, so commissioners, tonight begins the first procedural step in certifying our budget to the state. We will hold that combined revenue neutral rate hearing and budget hearing for both Douglas County. The cemetery districts that are within Douglas County, those are combined with our budget. And we'll also hold a revenue neutral rate hearing and budget hearing for Consolidated Fire District number 1. So commissioners, kind of dialing back a few months there into July, or feels like a few months, it was just last month. Between July 6th and July 15th, the Board of County Commissioners held several budget meetings totaling more than 20 hours during its review of the 2027 budget. At that time, commissioners reviewed funding requests totaling $15.4 million. Commissioners funded several one-time projects using existing fund balances. Those projects include $500,000 for the Baldwin EDC. We just spoke about that project, and that is capital funding match for a new child care facility in Baldwin City. A $1.5 million pledge to Burton Nash for the Youth Recovery Center. $485,000 approximately for Family Promise to pay off loans on supportive housing projects, significantly increasing their capacity to expand operations and services. Approximately $92,000 was allocated for Douglas County Historical Societies for capital improvement projects for facilities and a collection management project. $340,000 was allocated for behavioral health capital projects for justice-involved housing and a peer support clubhouse. Community projects that received ongoing funding include approximately $350,000 for the Cardinal Housing Network to provide ongoing operational support for transition housing services for women, $60,000 in restored funding for the KU Innovation Park, and $46,000 to DECA for expanded transitional housing support. In addition to that, a county department, the Senior Resource Center included in the 2027 budget was approximately $108,000 for wage adjustments, and then $100,000 for Everyday Counts Truancy program to support youth services. Commissioners, shown on your screen here are the 3 levied funds that represent the county's largest operating funds. This budget also lowers the assumed delinquency rate from 2% in the 2026 budget to 1.5% for 2027. The total budget for all budgeted funds, including non-appropriated amounts, is close to $200 million, coming in at 199.6. For the 3 levied funds shown here, county staff presented a flat mill levy budget this spring. And through that deliberation process that we just talked about, commissioners reduced the recommended levy from 40.669 mills to 40.286 mills for 2027. For the 5th consecutive year, the county commission has lowered the mill levy. Since 2023, the mill levy has been reduced by a combined 7.133 mills, dropping the rate from 47.419 in 2023 to 40.286, which is a marked decrease of 15%. To help put this mill levy decrease into perspective, this chart before you illustrates the amount collected for Douglas County over the past 5 years based on a sample tax bill for a resident in the city of Lawrence. Before we dive in, I think it's very important to note that Douglas County includes 44 taxing authorities and 119 individual tax units that may appear on various property tax bills throughout the county. This example from the city of Lawrence was selected because it reflects the largest portion of the county's population. Within the city of Lawrence, 4 taxing authorities contribute to a typical property tax bill. This is Douglas County, the city of Lawrence, and USD 497, and in the past that included the state of Kansas. Douglas County has reduced its portion of each tax bill in the city of Lawrence from 35 cents per dollar billed in 2023 to 31 cents per dollar billed in 2027. The 2027 figure, of course, is based on preliminary mill levy data submitted in July when each taxing jurisdiction notified the Douglas County clerk of their intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate. Estimated fund balance percentages for 2027 and 2028 are shown here on this slide for the 3 levied funds. General fund balances are projected at 25% in 2027, and that's assuming our 2026 reestimated budget targets are met. The balance then dips to 22% in 2028 based on the 2027 budget that we discussed last month. Road and Bridge shows a 33% fund balance into 2027, decreasing to a targeted 25% in 2028. And then the Employee Benefits Fund begins 2027 at 28%, then declines to 20% by 2028, also measured against 2027 expenditures. Our estimated cash balances for all of the other funds that are budgeted appear in the table below the levied funds on the left-hand side of your screen. And the estimated balances for those non-budgeted capital funds are shown on the right-hand side of the screen below that levied funds table. I do think it's important to note that emergency telephone service, motor vehicle operating, and mental health services sales tax funds, while not levied, are also considered operating funds at the county. Commissioners, this concludes the staff presentation for the Douglas County budget portion of our hearings tonight. At this time, I'll turn it back over to the board to conduct the public hearings for the revenue neutral rate first, and then the 2027 operating budget for Douglas County.
Thank you, Brooke. Commissioners and members of the public, just to set the table a little bit, since we have four distinct actions to take, and they are all public hearings, two of which require roll call votes of the commission, including this first one. So tonight, I'll go ahead and make all of the motions tonight, since staff have been very helpful in producing a little script for me. So we cross all our T's and dot all of our I's. So with that, I will open the public hearing for this agenda item, 4.1, the revenue neutral rate hearing for Douglas County. So first, I'll ask commissioners, do you have any questions for staff about the presentation we just received or any of the information in our packet on item 4.1? Okay, seeing no questions from commissioners, I'll open this up for public comment. Does any member of the public wish to make comment on item 4.1? Okay. Any virtual hands, Sarah?
Do have two virtual hands.
Okay.
So the first virtual hand is just listed as M. You can come off mute and provide your public comment.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. This is Melanie Kaufman, 66006. Commissioners, please hear me. I'll be brief. Imagine Douglas County as a thrifty grandma, the kind who hides cash in every possible place, under mattresses, behind the canned peaches, inside the coffee tin labeled buttons. And after years of squirreling away money, Grandma Douglas County now has $133.9 million tucked away in reserves. She turns to us, sweet as ever, and says, "Honey, can you give me $4 more? Is all the money we gave her gone already?" We start checking her hiding spots in the tin cans, behind the peaches, in the deep freeze, between the pages of her Bible, and even in her coat pockets. And we realize Grandma Douglas County is sitting on $133.9 million. Exceeding revenue neutral by $4 million at this point is not budgeting. It's Grandma panhandling with a fortune hidden in the house. With $133.9 million hidden in every nook, Grandma Douglas County does not need to be asking for lunch money from her kids. She needs to use the reserve she is already hoarding. With $133.9 million hidden in every nook, Douglas County does not need $4 million more from the taxpayers. Hold the line. Be a leader. Stay revenue neutral and vote no. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Go ahead, Sarah.
Right. The next person is Brent B. Brent, you are in the panel and can provide public comment.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Oh, hold on, Brent. I'm sorry. I think I may have accidentally. Brent, you're in the panel. Can you come off mute and try again?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Unfortunately, I couldn't be there in person as planned, as we've been outside working on our property and being stewards of the land like the majority of Douglas County, Lawrence, Eudora, Baldwin City, and Lecompton residents. Here we are again, another inflated expense budget combined with conservative estimates for the other revenue line items, excluding property tax, duplicated delinquent tax for the 9th or 10th year in a row, padded expenses represented by unnecessary miscellaneous expense line items for several departments, and they always use non-appropriated expenditure for those funds with the mill levy. So what's this all add up to? Higher and higher property taxes, and a mill levy it could be even lower despite your continual bragging about it. Property taxes are still higher, the highest ever, and a real example of poor stewardship by the three long-term incumbents. It's painfully obvious the three of you don't represent the majority of your constituents in your district. You're taxing people out of their homes, you're hoarding cash. Your lack of stewardship of Douglas County taxpayers' money is tragic. What you continue to do is not sustainable. Vote no to exceed the revenue neutral rate and represent the majority of your taxpayers in your district. Thank you.
That is all the comments, commissioners.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, we'll close public comment on this item and bring it back to the commission. Any questions or comments, commissioners, before I make a motion? Okay. I move to approve resolution number 26-15, expressing the intent to levy a property tax rate exceeding the revenue neutral rate for Douglas County. Sarah, would you like to call roll call?
Oh, let's get a second.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Second.
Moved in
Right.
second. Sarah, would you like to call roll call?
Yeah. Chair Reed,
Aye.
Vice Chair Willie,
Aye.
Commissioner Dorsey,
No.
Commissioner Anderson,
No.
Commissioner Kelly.
Aye.
Vote passes 3-2.
Okay. Thank you. We'll close the public hearing for item 4.1 and move into item 4.2. And if I'm going to understand, Brooke, your presentation that you gave us for both of these items together, right? So you don't have an additional presentation. Yep, got it. Just wanted to verify. Thank you, Brooke. Okay, commissioners, I'll open the public hearing for item 4.2, the Douglas County Operating and CIP budget hearing. Do commissioners have any questions that have popped up in recent minutes related to this? Okay, well then we'll go ahead and open this up for public comment as well. Is there any member of the public here in person who would like to speak on item 4.2? Come on forward. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Major Karen Holness. I'm with the Salvation Army, and our zip code is 66046. This is a first for me. I wanted to share that the Salvation Army has provided hope in Douglas County since 1886, almost synonymous with the county's existence. We are motivated by the love of God to meet human needs in His name without discrimination. We serve individuals from a variety of ages, backgrounds, and ethnicities. Simply put, anyone in need. The Salvation Army, our leadership, my husband and myself, Major Patrick and Karen, we assumed leadership last year. It's 1 year, being a wonderful time in Douglas County, along with our advisory board and our local council. We serve along with community partners. Many are here today, but together we serve everyone without discrimination. The Salvation Army of Douglas County in 2025 provided services to individuals experiencing homelessness. We have served over 12,000 persons through our food pantry, over 400 persons, 400 households with emergency assistance, including rent and utility when their services have been disconnected or in danger of being unhoused or displaced. We, through our Hope, or Beacon of Hope feeding program, last year alone served almost 11,000 meals, just lunches. And we literally do breakfast as well, just to ensure that persons have the ability to be fed. People who are experiencing food insecurity are able to be served through our food pantry. We requested, I think for the maybe second or third time, to be included in the Douglas County budget. My understanding is that we've never been included for funding in the county's budget. And so we are just respectfully asking, we are sorry we were not included in this past budget hearing, but we're looking forward to working with the county and with the commission as we together provide stronger, supportive, and inclusive services across our Douglas County community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else? Come on up.
Good evening. I'm Steve Novak, the Executive Director of the Douglas County Historical Society, 66044. And on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Historical Society, the staff of the Watkins Museum, the other heritage partners in the Douglas County, and also the members of all of the historical societies that choose to support county heritage preservation. I would like to thank you all, the County Commission and Douglas County, for its consistent support of the heritage preservation and interpretation efforts here in the county. We are facing unusual times now when political agendas guide what is funded and is not funded in federal granting programs, where particular views are deemed as more important than others are, and attempt to shape what historical stories are shared with the public. Here in Douglas County, we very much appreciate that your support does not come with strings, that you encourage us to be inclusive in the stories that we tell, to provide access to all people, to share efforts to treat all county residents equal, and want to just thank you all that we, the historians and preservationists doing this work in Douglas County, are allowed and actually encouraged to identify the stories and share the stories that we know will resonate with the public and with our supporters. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Can you press the button to turn the mic back on, please?
Sorry.
There you go. That's okay. Thanks.
Sofiana Libera, 66044. I just have a couple questions. I would like to know how much of an increase is there simply by the increase in the value of real estate? Because your budget has increased regardless whether you increase the mill levy. And I'd like to have a number, if you could please clarify that. I would also like to know how much of the budget is administration and personnel, because there's wonderful groups here that need to be supported, but there's a big budget. So if you could clarify that for us, that would be great. Thank you.
Sophia? Anybody else? Okay. Come on up.
John M. 66049. I appreciate all the hardworking people here, but the fact is that the taxpayers are supporting all of them. For the most part, my income is Social Security, and there's obviously a limit for what I can afford. There's many, many people that are more challenged than I am, and we keep increasing the costs of county and city services. And there is a limit. I think it was mentioned by one of the prior speakers. It's not sustainable, and you're crushing a lot of people. And it's just to me, it's mind-boggling that we would stress people in their current housing to pay more in such a situation where obviously eventually they're not going to be able to keep their housing. And so they're going to end up without a house and affordable housing or homeless or for their own benefit moving out. Thank you.
John, anybody else here? Last chance for public comment in the building. Okay. Do we have any raised for, oh, come on up.
Good evening. My name is Bev Turner. I'm with the Children's Advocacy Center of Douglas County, and we're at 66044. Thank you for this time in front of you today. I am here to thank the Douglas County community and commissioners. It feels really loud. Is that really loud? In stereo. I would like to thank the community and the commissioners who support our work for all children in our community that are impacted by child abuse. The CAC supports children and families during and following a child abuse investigation. When there is a report of child maltreatment, most often related to child sexual abuse, the CAC works with our Department for Children and Families, law enforcement investigators to provide forensic interviews and advocacy for the child and caregivers from the initial disclosure throughout the court process. Our CAC advocate meets with the caregiver to answer questions, provide guidance and reassurance. During these meetings, we also learn from the adult how best we can support them going forward. We provide direct referrals for specialized pediatric exams to our medical partners. And new in 2026, the CAC provides specialized trauma therapy at the CAC. And this includes therapy for children who display problematic sexual behavior. All services provided by the CAC are free of charge to the child, victim, and their family. Another role the CAC serves is to coordinate the multidisciplinary team case review for Douglas County. Staff from the CAC, DCF, law enforcement, and the district attorney's office, along with victim advocates, medical and mental health providers meet monthly to review and coordinate next steps regarding child abuse investigations. This committed approach to our child cases ensures that we are sharing valuable information with each other to keep the child's safety and healing at the center of all we do. Financial support provided by Douglas County allows the CAC to cover a variety of program expenses that are not covered by other grants, and most importantly, ensures that these direct services are available to all child victims and their caregivers. Ultimately, it is a responsibility of adults to support children when they have been sexually abused, as well as hold offenders accountable. I'd like to thank again you all for showing that our community, that Douglas County prioritizes safe and healthy childhoods for all. So thank you.
Thank you, Bev. Anybody else?
Stella Tremblay, 2521 Wanda Way, Lawrence. I moved here about a year ago, and mostly it's my fault. I didn't get a chance to call the offices to find these questions. I want to know if there's on the budget, if it's itemized. Is there salaries of employees and police? Also, what are the revenues for traffic violations? People speeding or not stopping, where that would be, and also the parking on Massachusetts anywhere. What is the income you get from there? And what are the salaries that you're paying the employees that are monitoring this? Now, for myself, I think most Americans find that government has become a burden. Doesn't matter if it's federal, state, and we're tired. We're fed up. There's a lot of good we could do to help but we don't have the income. And, you know, I walk around Lawrence and there's so many homeless people, same people there asking for money. I don't know how they live. But anyways, this is just an allegation. I went on Facebook and there is a company called Truth Against Hate Post. And it says every American state helps fund Israel. And apparently in Kansas, we give $80,179,100 100 to the state of Israel. And I'd like to know where, if we go on your budgets, where that is, if it's hidden or if it even doesn't exist. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else? Okay. Do we have any virtual hands raised, Sarah?
No.
Okay. We'll go ahead and close public comment for this hearing and bring it back to the commission.
Can we officially close the public hearing? That language is very important.
Yes. We will officially close the public hearing now that public comment is concluded. And commissioners, do you have any questions? Go ahead.
I just want to say, so Ms. Stella had some specific questions. We usually say if you want to leave some contact information with staff, we can get back to you on some of those. Some of those were our City of Lawrence questions and some with the state, but we'll answer what we can from the county budget.
Same for you, Sophia, with your questions. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Worley, for that. Okay, with that, now that our public hearing is closed for item 4.2, I move to approve the adoption of the 2027 Douglas County Operating and Capital Improvement Plan budget as presented.
I'll provide a second, but I would ask for some time for discussion here.
Thank you. I think I'm a little out of order with the closing the public hearing and thinking about it, so I appreciate that. Moved and seconded, and we can have some discussion now before taking a vote.
Yeah, you know what? These are maybe more comments than discussion, but I would encourage commissioners to weigh in as well. What we heard on the last vote was a desire to not increase our revenue by more than 1 penny. From a minority member of the commission. I understand that. I think that is politically popular to make sure that we do not increase taxes. We've heard public comment about that. And now we're going to vote on a budget that we spent over 2 weeks working on together. We even discussed what it would take to reach revenue neutral. And so in some ways, I'm disappointed in the vote that we just took because I believe that our process in July is really to determine what our needs are and what our expectations are. And once we determine what the needs of the community are, we have to determine a tax rate that will meet those needs. I understand. I always find it a balance. To answer Sophia's question, one of the things I do look at is I look at the amount of percentage that home valuations go up and our mill levy. And the other factor that we have to think about is inflation. The services that we provide, the costs for everything from gravel on roads to you name it, goes up annually. And if we hold at that level of revenue neutral, we will do nothing but continue to cut. And so I think what we need to do is sort of find that middle point. I agree with Mr. Ims that oftentimes that puts a big burden, especially on those who have fixed incomes. I think that gets really difficult. But the county is not immune to increased inflationary measures. Based on the previous vote we just took, I would expect that 2 commissioners will not be voting for this budget because they don't agree that the revenue that we need is appropriate. And I'm really interested in what they're looking to eliminate in order to get to that revenue neutral point.
Well, Commissioner Kelly, I really appreciate your perspective, and I thoroughly disagree. When we take a look at Road and Bridge, as I'm looking at the fund balance estimates that Brooke provided us, if we look at Road and Bridge for 2024, actual fund balance, it looks like we had, for the 2024 total budget, it was $7,696. And then as we look towards, we look at for the actual fund balance, it was 2,608. 2,608,000. And then as we look towards what we might estimate spending this year. Okay, I'm wrong. I thought we were actually decreasing. All right, does it look like we're going up slightly? Sarah?
From,
Page 7 of 12,
okay, I'll pull that up.
or Brooke?
You're looking at
'Cause
the
I-
fund balance estimates.
Uh-huh, because I thought we were actually reducing road and bridge.
We're
the fund
reducing the
balance
overall
does
fund
decrease.
balance. Yes.
Yeah, because I thought we
Over
were actually
time.
reducing road and bridge,
Yes.
the spending that we're doing with road and bridge.
Yes. We
But I'm
moved
trying to figure
from,
out where that was.
so it's on page 7 of 12 in 2024, it was at 34%, 2.6 million. That was our actual fund balance. Now it's at 2.2. So
But-
it is less.
But for the amount that we're spending for road and bridge, we've reduced it. Isn't that correct?
No, the overall expense budget is up. So the total expense budget in 2027 is 8.8 million. In 2024, it was 7.7.
Okay, and then what did we spend in 25?
The total budget was 7.9.
Okay, so it has gone up?
Yes.
Okay, so I apologize. I'm wrong. Okay, I thought we were actually reducing it, but we won't be reducing it until 2028
We're reducing the fund balance, not the operational expense
for road and bridge.
for road and bridge.
Okay, all right. I was remembering back to the work session that Chad provided us, and I remember him saying that those numbers were going to go down as we head into the future. And so that's what I was referencing. So,
And that would have been our capital improvement projects budget,
Okay.
which is separate. It's a non-levied capital fund. That is going down over time, both as a combination of facilities projects and road and bridge.
okay, thank you. So I was wrong. But I still disagree in regards to how I'm going to vote. And so as we look at revenue neutral, we do have money in our balances to reduce. And so I think we can pull from some of our other line items to go ahead and not increase. And so, as I said during our budget discussions as well, I moved a lot of different requests into some other areas that we could balance our budget differently. And I know that we had some, I'm going to say, differences of opinion in as to how we could balance the budget. How I think about it, I think we can use our mental health budget differently. I think we can move some of these supportive, social determinant of health and health-related social needs funding areas into our mental health funding bucket, and we can spend it differently in that particular line item because it does not impact our property taxes. And I think we should look at that differently. I think we should also take a look at how we are measuring, and I say this a lot, and how some of our standards around what we are funding. I think it's also okay to pause sometimes, pause in what we are doing and reevaluate what we are doing and review what we are doing, check in and truly understand as a team and as joint governing bodies, some of the bodies of work that we are funding. And to that effect, I think we have opportunities to not exceed revenue neutral. But I am going to vote for the budget because there are many different areas within the budget that I absolutely support. But I don't necessarily support exceeding revenue neutral. So because I know that it's going to have a huge impact on many of our community members across the entire county, even though a lot of the different taxing authorities are truly carrying a lot more weight than the county necessarily carries on their tax bills.
Any other comments from commissioners?
Just to respond a little, I know we did talk a lot about what can and can't be moved from the general fund or from the from mill levy support to the behavioral health sales tax support. And that's based on law and the way the statute was written, that there are limits to what that can be used for. If there are conversations that Commissioner Anderson would like to have with legal counsel to see if that can be broadened, that's a conversation to have. My understanding is any narrow or broad understanding of the ballot language from that tax, we're bound to that. We're absolutely bound to that. And so some things like economic development and such things can't necessarily be moved into that to be supported by the behavioral health sales tax fund. So those were conversations we all had, and I would refer all of the public. I was going to say this anyway, back to the 8 really robust discussions that are all, we have links to them in our packet. We can get them to you for when we sat around tables and talked about line by line by line the county budget and had these conversations. So it was, you don't hear us talking a lot up here when we're taking these votes because we've done a lot of work and all of it's public and all of it's available. Some of you sat in on it. Okay, one of you sat in on it. And then all of you were present, or many of you were present for when we had questions for you and for your organizations too. I would say we made a point of holding our Wednesday meeting within that budget cycle to make sure that we are having every opportunity for the people to come and talk to us while we're creating that budget, while we're doing that line by line. And it was really quiet here that Wednesday. And I really hope that we would have this kind of room full of people, like while that budget is being crafted, to say, not just don't pay for stuff, but like what specifically? Because we're really open to that. And that's the time when we're hashing that out. So would love for you to mark your calendars next July. We'll be here. You can be here, and be responsive to us in the moment, because there's a lot we do want to know, and we all each go and individually kind of create a budget document, and then we come in and we wrestle with it line by line, and it's a really healthy process. And I was really proud of the work that was done with it.
Have we moved mental health sales tax dollars into the general fund before?
No. It's specifically allocated for behavioral health projects.
And so we have never moved dollars out of that fund
Into the general fund?
or into any other fund?
No, all behavioral health sales tax dollars are deposited into the behavioral health sales tax dollars, into the behavioral health sales tax fund. And we also add a transfer from the general fund, which is property tax, into that fund as well. So that fund is both funded by sales tax and property taxes, just through a transfer.
Okay, so then we have moved community partners into that fund.
Correct. That's what you did. You moved several community partners this year. So that will take a burden off of the general fund for those expenses. So we moved several partners from the general fund into the behavioral health sales tax fund.
And so that's what I was referencing, Commissioner Willie, is that, taking some of those funding requests that we've had and moving them into the general fund.
Out of the general fund into the behavioral health
Yeah.
fund? Yes, we did do some of that for the 27 budget.
Okay, all
We've
right.
done some over the years, but this year I think there was a larger portion of that, and it was intended to try and help give some relief on the mill levy side of things.
And so when you're referencing getting approval from legal, what are you referencing?
Oh, in order to get to revenue neutral, you had a lot of things that were not behavioral health that you had suggested moving into the behavioral health sales tax. And that's why you didn't get a lot of support with that, is that we didn't have kind of the legal standing to work outside of the budget or the language that was on the ballot for that tax. So I'm supportive of the budget we have and the funds, the partners that were moved into the behavioral health fund and out of kind of mill levy support. It's something I'd probably been more supportive than others in the past. And so I think it's a good move for us. But in terms of like finding enough, finding millions and millions more that could be done, I didn't see it in our deliberations.
And would you mind like providing an example? Because one of the examples that I remember was our mobile integrated health, because one of the flyers that I found referenced mobile integrated health in regards to the mental health tax that was passed. And so that was one of the projects that I really wanted to move into that particular line item. And I think that was one of the discussions that we had, that the commission team did not really think that that was an appropriate move to move mobile integrated health into our mental health tax bucket.
And those were two different programs. You're talking about mobile integrated health. It's the mobile response team that was spoken of in the ballot language. And that is in the behavioral health fund,
Correct. Yeah, the mobile response team is paid for out of the behavioral health fund. The mobile integrated health team the commissioners earlier this year asked for us to provide definitional boundaries of what was allowable inside the behavioral health fund. I believe Commissioner Dorsey asked us to bring that forward. And so we put together a notion that it had to be exclusively limited to behavioral health and substance abuse and related conditions to homelessness. So mobile integrated health helps people leaving the hospital and a variety of different types of endeavors. So I can't exclusively say that it's being used for behavioral health or for substance use disorder work.
Commissioner Anderson, I would just offer that I appreciated that part of our extensive budget deliberations, and that you had made that suggestion for a number of things. And I believe that we as a full board talked through each of those ideas and determined whether or not any of them could be a fit, because I do think that there's a strong desire of this current commission to want to align those funds, align the different programming and services that the county is funding related to that under behavioral health, because both for alignment purposes and for the sake of providing some relief to the larger general fund balance, general fund that is funding, all county services and other community partners that don't fit in that. So I appreciated the exercise of going through those different ideas. And I think that continues to be on the table for all future budget years as we review specific requests, whether it be new requests from current partners or new partners coming to us and asking to enter the sphere, that we should be talking about each of those and determining whether or not we think it's a good fit. But I do think that it's a narrow scope, and we do have to be careful about that. So I welcome continuing conversation about that budget year after budget year. I do think that this year we moved quite a bit, but we had to draw the line somewhere and keep things in more alignment with general, either more broad-based and diversified services that are not so exclusive to behavioral health, substance use, or conditions, leading to homelessness. And while it can be stated that there are lots of things that we fund that touch that area or are touched by those issues, they're not exclusively working in that space. So I just think it's something for us to continue having nuanced conversations about each time we have a request in front of us. Any other comments or thoughts from commissioners?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions and a few comments. I don't know whether to ask Brooke this or Sarah. When was the last time we had to dip into our reserve?
We actually are dipping into our reserves now to pay for the employee benefits fund. So we have decreased our spending in the employee benefits fund by using fund balance to help offset those increases. We spend out of our fund balance every year. We allocated a number of projects for one-time use, because that is the responsible way to use one-time dollars in both our 26 and 27 budget, I believe. And we've done that both in behavioral health and in the general fund over the years. So we dip into it quite a bit. And also, and as we talked about last week with our audit, of the funds listed in the Journal World as unplanned or available for unplanned expenses or emergencies, half of those roughly are already allocated and encumbered for capital projects and equipment replacement so that we do not issue further debt on the community and we pay for those projects with cash.
And based on our current estimates, how are we going to come out at the end of 2026?
I think Brooke had that in her slide. We anticipate, I'll pull it up here, Brooke. We anticipate the general fund at the end of 2026 being at 25%.
Well, I mean, how much more revenue are we going to have than expenses at the end of the year?
Well, we re-estimated the current year, and my hope is that we're on track. Now, Douglas County does have a practice, which I think is good fiscal stewardship of underspending its budget. We made a lot of those changes in this year's budget in terms of how we looked at assessed delinquency. So I do not anticipate, I don't anticipate that we're going to, I think, it's hard to tell at this point, but I don't, normally we come in within we come in last year, I think we came in within 5%, 1%. Yeah. Yeah, it was, in terms of what our estimates were.
Okay. I think we could fund the budget as presented and still be revenue neutral. I think generally, anytime you prepare a big budget like 200 million, there's going to be fat in there that you could cut out if you worked hard to do it. I'll just give you a couple of examples. Road and bridge. Last year, we had 3 big projects of over $2 million. We had a lot of small projects too. The small projects came in about at estimate. The larger projects, 3 in particular, were 40% under the estimate. That's because we use conservative estimates and don't want to spend more than the estimate. But based on last year, obviously prices are going to go up a little bit, but out of our total road and bridge budget, I think we could cut 300,000 and still do all the projects in the budget. That's my opinion anyway.
I would add, commissioners, that in order to get revenue neutral on this budget, you would need to cut $3.9 million.
I'm not done.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were done. Apologize for that. Sorry.
I started with the little ones first. Okay. Well, my plan for zoning and codes and planning, we currently utilize the city planning group to do our planning for us. And because we have an agreement with them and have for a number of years, we fund 1/6 of the city's planning department budget. I think we should hire our own planners and in effect quit subsidizing the city planning department. I think we could save about $129,000 in doing that. If we were to do that, which we're not planning on doing, then I think we should get our planners on board and defer our plan that our consultants recommended to redo the codes, which will cost about $300,000 next year's budget. I think that could be delayed a year without a lot of problems. The codes have been working for many years. One more year is not going to hurt. We currently have an outside attorney we pay $228.35 an hour for. I read recently that the school district got a local attorney for $150 an hour. 228 is more than that. Obviously, I think if we went with internal counsel, we could save even more based on some of the salaries of assistant DAs, I think would get an internal attorney for about $140,000, $150,000 a year. So in round numbers, let's say $70 an hour versus 228. That's about a $350,000 savings per year. And our county counsel currently works for a law firm, and we use 7 or 8 different lawyers in that firm. He, for the last 7 months, has been number 3 on the list of utilization. So we're using other attorneys more than our official county counsel. Economic Development Corporation is splitting apart from the Lawrence Chamber of Commerce. They've been kind of intertwined for a number of years. They're moving to separate. We have a line item budget in there for $200,000. I think we should cut that down during their transition period to $50,000. Let them get established and then figure out what they need. And I think that process will take about a year. I think we could probably reduce our general reserve by about $1.2 million without harming our ability in the future. Also, as you noted on the slide, we went from 2 to 1.5 delinquency rate. I was pushing for 1. It's never exceeded 1 for the last 3 years. That would be a significant amount of money. So all of that adds up to about 2.4 million. Not quite to the 3.8, but it makes a healthy start. And I think many departments historically underspend. Many of the departments budget at full personnel levels, and you have turnover, you have people retire and so forth. So there's always a little cushion there. We have in our budget a salary increase of 4.4% for a general increase, and then a 1% merit increase. I agree with our treasurer who spoke for maybe reversing that and making the merit increase 4.4 and a general increase of 1%. That gives department heads the ability to reward people doing an excellent job, and let's not give everybody a raise for just showing up. So I would support that more than the way we have it structured now. I think when inflation is only about 3.8, 5.4 is probably a little too high. Everybody sitting on this panel currently makes $54,183 a year. Each year I ask for a freeze on commissioner salaries. Each year it goes over like a lead balloon. So I anticipate another lead balloon this year on that. Overall, I think there's a lot of good things in the budget. We've funded a lot of community partners that are really helping those in need. I don't agree with everything in the budget. I agree with the majority that's in the budget. So even though I think we could cut things, and I voted against exceeding revenue neutral, I'm going to vote for the budget.
Okay, for all this math and more, there are 8 sessions. You can go back and listen and hear the conversations that Commissioner Dorsey is having, but also how we all reacted to that and the things that we brought to the table. Like I said, each of us did this work separately, and then we come together and talk about each line item. So many of these things we've hashed through. So there are other perspectives also that we won't get into necessarily tonight, but just things like, for our road and bridge, we also, last year had a project on bridge replacement on Farmers Turnpike, North 1800 Road. It came in too high. It cost too much. We didn't do it. We pivoted to another project. So how we stay under budget is not just that we guess wrong. There's a lot of engineering that goes into how these estimates are made. And if we can't find bids that fit within what we find to be reasonable, because we are a cash funded CIP, can move from one project to another. And that project is now, we have some bids and it's moving forward this year, but it's within a reasonable amount. So there's just a lot more to it. And if you ever want to talk about budget, I like to, and I'm also going to vote in favor of this budget. I thought it was a very healthy process. Nobody got what they wanted. That's how it works.
I do have to clarify, the merit increase is 1% and the market adjustment is 3.4 for a total of 4.4, not 5.4. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, commissioners, for your comments and perspectives. Any closing thoughts before we take a vote? We have a motion and a second and some further discussion on the floor. And this one is not a roll call vote. All those in favor of adopting the 2027 Douglas County Operating and Capital Improvement Plan budget as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that passes. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, yes, aye.
I'm sorry. I thought I heard it in all directions. I appreciate you, Commissioner Anderson. Okay, that passes unanimously. With that, we'll invite Brooke back up for another presentation to kick off the next 2 public hearings that we have. And for those of you who aren't going to stay with us to hear about Consolidated Fire District 1, please use your inside voices on the way out.
I'm going to share my screen very slowly here.
We are moving on. So if we could keep it quiet, that'd be great.
I think you can probably go ahead, Brooke.
Thank you, commissioners. I appreciate the brief pause as the room cleared. So commissioners, I have a very brief presentation tonight for the revenue neutral rate hearing and the budget hearing for Consolidated Fire District number 1. So this very last slide, commissioners approved a 3.83 mil increase for the 2027 Consolidated Fire District number 1 budget to support the district's workforce stabilization and service reliability initiative. This funding does add 10 full-time positions to the district, 6 firefighters, 3 captains, and 1 battalion chief to strengthen their staffing and improve their service reliability. The initiative establishes 2-person staffing at stations 111 and 151, ensuring round-the-clock coverage for fire response. This enhancement not only improves the emergency response capabilities, but also reduces the dependence on volunteers. And it also significantly increases firefighter safety for the firefighters on staff. Commissioners, this concludes the staff presentation for the Consolidated Fire District number 1 budget. Again, Chair, I will turn it back over to you to conduct the public hearing for the revenue neutral rate and then the public hearing for the 2027 operating budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Brooke, for the overview. We will open the public hearing officially for the revenue neutral rate hearing for Consolidated Fire District number 1. First, I'll check in with commissioners and see if we have any questions for staff on this one. Okay. Oh, Commissioner Dorsey, did you have a question?
Well, I have a question for Consolidated District Number 1. Can they come up?
Sure. Chief, you want to join us?
Yes, sir.
My only concern with this whole thing is if you'll be able to hire all the staff in 1 year or not.
We believe we will be able to hire them all within 1 year. That's our goal.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Okay, now that the hearing is open, I will open the floor for public comment on exceeding the revenue neutral rate for the Consolidated Fire District 1. Anybody here wish to make comment on that? Okay, any virtual hands raised, Sarah? Okay, we'll close public comment and
the public
close public hearing. I got it. Thank you.
Oh.
We Thank you. I was just re-looking at my order of operation. I was like, wait, so, okay. First, we close public comments. I'm going to ask commissioners if they have any comments that they would like to make before I make a motion. Okay.
Wait.
Oh,
I wasn't very fast.
missed it. Thank you.
Just that this one was hard for me and just kind of calling that out because, every year I've been here, been able to, cut mill levy on the county budget, but recognizing the full scope of the need, it really was that weighing what does the community need and what's for the safety of our firefighters responding in the northern half of rural Douglas County that's Consolidated Fire District 1 versus that tax burden. So I just want to flag that this was a hard one for me, but I believe that it is the right and the safe thing and really the only way forward to kind of maintain fire protection well and safety within that district.
I've got a comment too. Yeah, I ditto her comments. I have a hard time with the mill levy increase, but because it is for fire and medical and safety, I'm going to have to support the mill levy increase.
I'll drop a comment as well. I'm absolutely in support of this when it comes to infrastructure costs and it comes to fire, medical, and safety. This is something that I absolutely support.
Okay, commissioners, thank you for your comments. I move to approve resolution, I'm right. I'm right this time. I move to approve resolution number 26-16, expressing the intent to levy a property tax rate exceeding the revenue neutral rate for Consolidated Fire District Number 1.
I second.
Moved and seconded. Sarah, would you like to call roll call?
Can we close the public hearing now?
I thought it was closed.
It's actually after we take the vote.
Is it
according to
after the
my-
vote?
We take the vote and then.
Really strange to take a vote in a public hearing. Anyway, okay, yes, I'll call the roll. Chair Reed.
Yes.
Vice Chair Willie.
Yes.
Commissioner Dorsey.
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
All right, that passes unanimously, and now the public hearing is concluded.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
have a question as to how you can have a public hearing open if you're voting.
That's why I don't like this, but this is a very specific order of operations that is required for the R&R notice, and I don't actually believe it follows Robert's Rules of Order, but this is what the state statute requires, so.
And as evidenced by our meeting cadence, a little bit different for the non-revenue neutral rate hearings. So, okay, with that, we are concluded with item 4.3. We do not have an additional staff presentation, so I will just go ahead and open up the public hearing for item 4.4, which is the adoption of the 2027 budget hearing for Consolidated Fire District Number 1. First, I'll double check. Commissioners, any questions pop into your mind in the last couple moments? Okay, we'll open this up for public comment. Is there anybody who wishes to provide public comment about the 2027 CFD1 budget? Any virtual hands, Sarah? Okay, I'll close public comment and I'll close the public hearing this time and just bring it back to the commission for any further comments or motions.
the biggest change with this, and I probably should have saved my previous comments for this item, is that no one will have to respond alone in a fire truck to a fire and hope somebody else shows up. They will always have somebody else with them, and that is a huge change. So, and needed. I'd make a motion. Are you supposed to make all the motions tonight?
You go ahead.
All right, we'll see how I do. I move to adopt the 2027 Consolidated Fire District Number 1 budget.
Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that one passes unanimously. All right, thank you, commissioners. Thank you, staff, for all your work. This is the conclusion of quite a months-long, arguably most of the year process for staff, and we know for community partners who will be looking to this cycle again in a few seasons and coming back to us for future conversations. And it is a very robust process that we do at Douglas County. And for any of those of you who are interested in hearing more about commissioner perspectives and discussion that we had with each other, I highly recommend it, as Commissioner Willie has pitched for a few times, that the videos are there and the conversations are useful, I think, and we really do welcome the feedback about how and why we might do things differently in the future. Staff, thank you for all your work on this. And community partners, thank you for being here, and county staff and departments as well. Okay, commissioners with.
Could I make just a comment?
Go ahead.
For next year's budget, I would suggest we come up with some guidelines for community partners about what we're going to expect. Or this year we ended up cutting one partner because their fund balance was over, well, it was close to a year in reserves. I'm sure they're upset about being cut. I think it would be helpful for all community partners if we gave them some criteria as to what we're going to judge their submittals on, so nobody has a surprise.
And commissioners, I would say I'm hoping to bring that back to you this fall. When we bring back our service agreement document and an overview of our community partners and our service agreements. And my hope was we could start that conversation yet this fall.
And I believe they had over 2 years of fund balance in unappropriated fund balance.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't mention who, so.
All right, commissioners, we are concluded with our business meeting for the evening. Moved on to appointments. I forgot to double check Sarah's memo to see if we had appointments ready.
I think we might. I don't
think
there
we have any
might be
queued up.
one, but if you guys could take a look, we can do this on the 9th when we come back.
Okay. Do commissioners have anything about appointments that they wanted to mention?
I needed to get I think I know who our Marion Township Douglas County Fair Board representative is, but I need to get that and reach out to him. But I'm pretty sure I know who it is,
Great.
but I haven't.
And we can
I'll confirm.
help you with that.
Thank you.
Good one for the Board of Code Appeals, someone who's interested in being reappointed, but his term doesn't end until December 31st.
That's what that's right. So we've got plenty of time on that one.
Okay, so I think we can just sit and I will catch myself up because I missed that part of the memo. Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll move on to Commissioner and Administrator Miscellaneous and hear from Sarah first.
Commissioners, you have a number of dates for September in my memo for this week. So as you're looking at your calendar for September, please take a look at those. Also attached to this week's memo is the 2026 Annual Statistical Procedural Compliance Review that the state does to make sure that we are properly assessing property according to state law. Douglas County has been found in substantial compliance. That letter is attached. Also, there's some additional follow-up information on the City of Eudora public hearing on the TIF district. I know you guys talked about that a couple weeks ago, so there's some updated information there. And then also a flexible housing pool program budget. As you know, commissioners, we budget for that work collectively, and we have made some adjustments on barrier reduction funds. Please take a look at that. If that's something you want additional conversation about, we can certainly have that, but wanted to make sure I put that in front of you. Commissioners, we agreed that we will take off next week, September 2nd, because there are 5 Wednesdays in September. So we generally take one off, and we're going to take next week off. After we come back from that, we will begin work sessions for fall. And so the next 2 weeks, you have 4:00 work sessions. And that's all I have. Thank you, commissioners.
As far as calendar items, is anybody else going to the Family Promise ribbon cutting tomorrow night? I don't think I have that on here. Okay, we'll get that to Robin. I think it's tomorrow at 9:09 Tennessee at 4
o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Yeah. Anything else from other commissioners? Okay, we are adjourned for the night. Have a good night, everybody.